$1 bill, yo.
Scimitar Druid. Well, Scimitar Druid is actually becoming the Stormcaller Druid because eventually those weapon mastery disciplines, most of that stuff is getting folded into the promotion class areas. So, yes. Yes, that was a fun one. Okay, so you also see tooltips are starting to pop up there. I just got a warning about Nightfall happening. And let's go to crafting, because crafting is the focus of this this morning. So I am playing a centaur. We're gonna look at my inventory and you see all kinds of things. You might notice some new icon art. Nicholas got us a whole bunch of icon art this time. And this morning I am going to make horseshoes. That's right, the centaur now have this horseshoe slot over here. Yes, it's one of the other longer promises that I've actually finally delivered on, which is centaurs get horseshoes. And to be able to craft the horseshoes, I'm going to need to equip my leather scroll case, which is now one of the things. And you'll notice I will put it into the minor discipline slot that is unlocked, because I only have one unlocked at this point. Yeah, Jack, the new art is fantastic. And in the tree, the very first discipline node unlocks right here. The major's here, but we don't need that yet. So I've unlocked that slot. I put my scroll case in. And now, if you remember what the scroll case did, I think I showed it before on a stream, it unlocks an additional slot because we do all kinds of crazy things with our discipline system. So it's unlocked this scroll slot right here, and I can now equip, oh, that's for the runic weapons. Tell me I made one. Okay. The Art of Horseshoeing. And this will require a scroll case, and it temporarily grants you the recipe horseshoes. You'll also notice this recipe has a durability of 5. Every time you craft one of these things, it's going to decrement the durability, which means these scrolls will be a reoccurring loot item that you will find in the world, and they will always have value to somebody because they go away after so many uses. For those of you who remember Galaxies, that was one of our bigger loot items that the crafters bought from all of the combatants. Okay, so let's go ahead and you'll notice, let me go ahead and prove to you that I'm not cheating. Yep, there's a personal crafting tip. And you'll notice under blacksmithing, I have fuel, intermediate weapons, weapon components, and ranged weapon components. If I close that and re-equip the Art of Horseshoeing, and I use the crafting station, you will notice I now have a miscellaneous area and horseshoes is there. So the recipe is granted there when you're using it. If you unequip it, it will automatically strip it out because, yeah, yes, one of the early exploits I found was the ability to create infinite things off of these scrolls. Charlie went ahead and fixed that pretty quick. I keep opening personal crafting. Okay, so we're going to come in here, and our horseshoes are going to require 3 metal sections and some dust. I'm going to go ahead and make some metal sections. You'll notice my blacksmithing skill is 100, and this recipe difficulty is 20. Because I'm using legendary materials, the difficulty is going to boost up by 50, so you can now see the difficulty of this recipe is 70. So if I were to unequip my cheater ring, and let's just say I go down to no blacksmithing skill, I have 11.34, probably coming from my racial. Yep. Centaurs get a 10% assembly bonus just for being centaurs. They also get woodworking. Look at all this stuff that centaurs get. This is ridiculous. Okay, so you'll notice down here my success chance went down. We're now displaying basically all of the inputs that are going into the recipe and why you might get a flawed assembly. We're going to show you the math behind it, because the goal here is if you see the math and you see the stats, you know how you can counteract them. You can go find the things and the stats that will make you a better crafter. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and assemble metal section. Yes, success. Now, this UI is our current UI with some small tweaks. We had a bigger UI planned for this milestone. It just didn't make the schedule, so we have bumped it out to the next one. But for now, this will at least get you into the math and all those other things. So one of the changes is now you'll notice my run experiment button does not light up until I've allocated all of my points. So when I allocate all of the points, this button lights up. Also, you'll notice this risk button now lights up. So once you've allocated all of your points, you select your risk level. And I'm going to go for Are You Insane? And you'll notice right down here, I now get a bonus 4.03% per pip. And my added difficulty went up by 60. So if I don't want any risk, I can go down to no additional risk. However, that means that I won't get any bonus per pip. So you can dial in the amount of risk you're willing to take on these recipes based on your skill. Obviously, in the beginning, a lot of people will be using the no additional risk because otherwise they're going to skew towards the failure and moderate success levels. And I can show you some a little worksheet we built to simulate this. We basically take all of these numbers, put them together, and we generate a curve. And where you land on that curve based on your skill in points is going to determine amazings, greats. You're going to kind of see that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go, Are You Insane? You'll notice my final difficulty is 130, which is pretty much the max because I'm using a legendary. Legendaries skew that difficulty upwards. So again, if you're using whites and blues, your difficulty is not going to be so high. However, I do have 100 experimentation, so I should be okay. On the new UI, it actually shows my skill or my stats, but on this one, it doesn't. You'll notice now the points tick up, and it's telling me what the rolls are for each of those pips. We have icons for those in the new UI, but so wow, you saw a bunch of kind of crummy rolls there. Now these buttons down here light up, which is I can either do a small reroll or a large reroll. A small reroll will reroll my 2 lowest stats that I rolled up there, and the floor for that roll will be what it is. So you can only get better. Right now, I think it costs 50 or 25 dust for a small. A large reroll is very expensive. The new UI tells me the cost, and I've forgotten it. So there you go. I'm going to pick a small reroll. Okay. And it rerolled a moderate there for my 2 lowest pips. I knew I saw a critical failure up there. All of the recipes are not physical objects now. So if I go over to talents for a second, I know you guys really don't want to see any of the talent stuff, but part of the talent tree, when you look at this thing, there are these nodes with symbols that you're very familiar with. And when you unlock these nodes, it unlocks the disciplines over here on the right. You don't have to buy them if you don't want to, but that would be kind of foolish. Now, there are these 3 dangling nodes that you guys will see that are called Coming Soon. Basically, what's going to happen in the first vision we have planned here is the discipline will get loaded out into this slot, and a tree will dynamically generate off of the discipline node. So right now we just have these 3 as placeholders, which will probably be the number for most combat disciplines. The powers that are on a discipline, for example, all of these powers will get put into those nodes. So basically a discipline will get piecemealed up into stats and powers and all the other crazy things that disciplines do, but they're going to appear in the nodes. For the crafters, when they socket the crafting discipline out there, a bigger tree will generate, and in those nodes will be their recipes. So looking at a tree, here are the 3 exclusive nodes. These are the promotion paths. Like this is for the swordsman path. Swordsman, Secutor, and Sentinel, because I'm on a knight. So many of these things now. Just like this is for combat, if you can imagine taking that entire chunk there that ends in swordsman, it is going to generate something like that down underneath these discipline offshoots, or upwards in the case of this one, and then the crafters will be able to buy recipes, stats, all kinds of fun little things that we put in for the combatants, we will try and do that for the crafters as well. Anthrage, the deeds are specifically for limited use, very special loot drops. So you're going to see a whole tier of weapons. For example, Runic is a new tier of weapon that got added on top of Advanced. Right now I'm making the scrolls for the Runic weapons. So you'll notice here the Treaty of Defense is an Arcana Scroll Runic. That's a new tiering note we have in there. And you'll notice it requires your scroll case. Here's the 3 temporary recipes it grants. It also unlocks temporary ingredient slots within existing recipes. So if you use an esoteric runestone in your blade, it's going to actually turn that into a runed blade. If you use a spherical cut gem in a hilt, it's going to turn it from a regular hilt into a jeweled hilt. So it's still the one recipe of hilt. There's just going to now be some additive slots that are either locked or invisible, and when you equip this, they will appear. So we're going to start sprinkling the world with these cool loot drops in addition to the stuff you already get. So again, we're trying to make the gameplay for the crafter really cool. We're not just kind of sticking it in there and be like, all right, go craft, and it's like every other MMO you've ever played. That is not our goal. So what this is going to happen is the combatants, people who enjoy killing things, will be out there killing things, looting chests, finding stuff in the world. They're going to find these things and they're going to bring them to crafters. And they're going to say, hey, make me a runic buckler, or I want a runic tower shield because I'm a secular promotion knight, so I need a tower shield. And here's the coolest one I could find. If talents are bound to vessels and crafting recipes are based on talents, does that mean that crafting skill will be bound to and die with the vessels? Yes, so your recipes will come from the vessel, your account skills. So if you look at the skill trees now, you'll notice we've gotten rid of race and class. All of that power was folded in to the talent system. And up here in the crafting land, you are still generating all of the stats. I'm going to need to pull these recipes out of here. That's a 6.0. That's an alpha task. But that's where we're going. However, the stats will still be granted up here. So your long-term account progression, you'll be able to skew it towards a profession or 2 or 3 over time. Remember, over time, everybody gets everything in the skill system. However, this guy is my blacksmith. What else does Centaur get? Woodworker. He's my blacksmith woodworker, and I will spec him and find the disciplines accordingly. And then there is some also cool miners that I need to show you guys. But to do that, I'm going to need to go full screen. Blazin', everybody will get 2 trains. So I don't know if we announced that this morning. Todd Gordon and I had a long talk about if we were making a game and we didn't need to sell anything, what would we do? And the progression system being tied in any shape or form to monetization is going to get you the pay-to-win moniker. And we have really been trying to avoid that the entire time that we've been working on this project. So everybody gets 2 trains. We are just making it flat. Progression has nothing to do with your VIP status. There's a whole bunch of other things that we're rolling into that, but none of it has to do with how powerful your character is and any of that. So we're just going to kind of get rid of all of those arguments. Yes, this update is a new dawn in gameplay. We've really transitioned from really just being a set of standalone systems to actually wrapping them all together into a thing. People's content is coming online. I'm super excited for you guys to get in here and start giving me feedback. A lot of these talent trees and nodes were done by, everyone has now called them 3 a.m. Blair, and 3 a.m. Blair turns into like Hyde, and I just go crazy in there. You're going to see a lot of fun stuff, and I'm really looking forward to showing it to all you guys. If you replace a discipline, do you get the talent points refunded? Right now, you can't replace the disciplines. Well, the long-term goal is for that. And one of the other things is your your talent tree is going to be the same for all qualities of vessels, but it's going to be much faster to level a white quality vessel. However, the white quality vessels do not get the attribute bonus. In fact, when you level up with a white quality vessel, you get 3 attribute points, and with a legendary, you are getting 5 per level of attribute points. Attribute points go straight into lots of substats, and for crafting, it increases your crafting skills. How long will it take to max out a vessel approximately? We were shooting at like 2 days for a white quality vessel. That's still kind of in play. And the legendary ones are on the far end of that scale of probably many days. Thank you, Blazin. Yeah, generating that curve was one of the smaller but kind of very important tasks of this milestone, so that the crafting system feels like it's all in your hands, right? Yes, there is RNG involved, but it's RNG that you can control. So if you want to go "Are you insane?" use legendary materials and you have no stats, you're asking for it, right? I think somebody gave the example that you can only run low on gas so many times, but eventually you're going to be walking by the side of the road with a gas can if you do it too often. Same thing here, right? If something is too difficult for you and you push it, you're not going to get good results, or you're very unlikely to get good results. So don't expect them. If you get all the buffs, if you've got the stations that only appear in the keeps, all of those things, then you can push it and ideally make a blueprint out of that thing, and then now you can make a lot of them. Will taking a tower give XP? No, it doesn't. Where do we get disciplines for 5.8? In 5.8, we still value the testing that we're getting from all the disciplines, so they are currently still available in the crafting trees. I can go ahead and show you. Just next to that, and they are still over here with all of the other ones. That I don't know if we're going to pull them out as part of 6.0, but that's probably going to be a good time. But I really want testing with the talents, the powers. All of the combat powers saw a whole lot of overhaul. Some of the powers that you guys might have remembered are gone, right? So don't be surprised when you log into a class and you're like, hey, where's the blah blah blah, and it got cut. So we want to see the discipline powers plus the talent powers, all of those things kind of interacting, and what kind of bugs we get in there, because then we can fix the bugs now. You guys will enjoy the patch notes. Can't wait to see you in the snap test. Thanks everybody for coming out. I look forward to weeks and months and years of debate on the talent trees. Did we not give you enough points at the break points? Are some of the talents just not good? There's 600 talents, so there's plenty of stuff for us to talk about, plenty of stuff to debate. Look at it with an open lens. Some of the things were specifically designed with the idea of this discipline or that discipline. So we will look at all of the feedback, and I can't wait. Yeah, Zybeck, we're supposed to be 30 minutes, so we're actually over by 11. So I'm going to yell that we're going over by 11.